And welcome to the Don't Judge, Just Love podcast. Here with Chase Willardson and my beautiful wife, Shannon Willardson. This is the podcast where we talk about all the things with no judgment.
Only love, baby.
That's right.
Only love.
And in this episode, we wanted to answer another question that we get a lot of times when it comes to our chillins.
Yeah. It's Teacher Appreciation Week this week. It won't be when this airs, but it is this week. And it made us think about the fact that we get asked a lot just what the school situation is for the kids, particularly the girls. I think people are just curious about it, which is fair. I would be too. So we thought we would just get into it.
Okay.
And stuff.
I think that's great. And we are grateful for our teachers, for our kids.
Oh my gosh.
They're amazing.
Oh my
They
gosh.
are so amazing. Such good people. And teachers, gosh, you are amazing.
This is my heart exploding.
It's exploding
everywhere
right now.
For teachers, seriously though.
That
is such a hard job, especially not to be weird and make it weird, but in our country,
underappreciated.
In our country, it's scary to be a teacher, and I just respect and love, and
sending our love to all of the teachers out there. Thank you for making an impact and a difference in kids' lives.
It's very hard job. Not that I would know from experience, but I could only imagine. So much respect.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, Chase, why don't you share what the setup is for the kids? Maybe what we could do is talk about what it is here in Idaho, how that differed from California, because their situation was a little different there. And go from there.
Well, here in Idaho, it's really nice because the school program that they have for
in Boise, by the way, we're in the Boise area. We're in Boise,
where our girls
straight up
go for their school program is actually the same place that Jack goes. So they have a school program, and they are able to go to the same school. They have teachers that work with special needs children. They have two different classes. One, Ava has a class for some of those that are
it's pre-K.
Pre-K.
Ava's in pre-K.
And then Charlie's first grade.
Charlie's in first grade.
Oh my gosh.
So cute.
If you didn't see Shannon's stories where they were her teacher and the class were playing with butterflies.
Oh my gosh.
And there was this butterfly that landed on Charlie's hand. And
so they were out at recess, and they had done, or maybe they just went out for this project. They had done a project where I was going to say they grew butterflies, but that sounded weird. But they did. They what is the thing? How do you, where it's a chrysalis and then And
you're doing a great job.
And then it evolves. I sound like an idiot. But they did a butterfly project, and it must have been in conjunction with the typically developing first grade class, because they were all out. They were all outside, and Char's teacher FaceTimed us. We happened to be out of town. So she FaceTimed us and showed us that they went outside to let the butterflies out, and there was a little butterfly that was just chilling on
Charlie's hand.
Leg, and it just didn't want to leave, and she was just looking at it. It was very cute. Anyway, so we feel very fortunate because all three of our kids are at the same school, and like Chase said, the girls are in programs that are specifically for different needs kiddos. And then Jack is obviously in his typically developing class.
And they have more teachers per kid. How many teachers do they have in Charlie's class? Is it 3 or 4?
They have a ratio. I can't remember what the exact ratio requirements are, but yeah, in Charlie's class, Ava's pre-K. And so Ava does a half day. She's just the morning class. So their pre-K classes are divided into morning and afternoon. But then Charlie's class is, I think it's a first through, I think that program is
through 6?
I think it's beyond that.
Oh, really?
I think it's beyond 6.
Okay.
It might be through graduation.
Really?
Don't quote me on that. But yeah, we'll have to, I know obviously it's at least through 6th grade, but I think it goes beyond that. Anyway, but so there's a range of grades and ages in Charlie's class. And so they have a few more kiddos in there. They have about, I think, 3 or 4, they call them paras, and then one, kind of like head teacher. Um, and it's worked really, really well. But honestly, the reason it's worked well, they are really good programs in and of themselves. And I think it's an early start program and I can't remember what Ava's is called. Um, it has a specific name for the pre-K program. But again, I really feel like the reason the programs work and are amazing is because of the teachers and the paras and everyone involved. Like, they just do such a good job. But it's also really cool because they do a good job at their school of kind of like integrating the kids. Charlie integrates into a specific first grade class because that's the age she matches with. And like today, for example, they had a field trip this morning. The first graders were going on a field trip to our local library, and Charlie came. Like, we got to take her on that field trip, and it was the cutest freaking thing. All the little girls in the class are so sweet to her. They all came up to her and were like so excited she was there. Her teacher, Charlie's teacher, frequently sends me pictures of them out at recess, and it'll be Charlie out in her wheelchair and just this like swarm of girls around her, like touching her leg and just kind of like so excited to be by her. And it's, as you can imagine, as a mom, I'm just like,
There was actually something that happened this last
sobbing.
week that was really tender as well. But that little girl that's having a birthday party.
Oh yeah, Charlie got invited to a birthday party of one of the girls in the
A typically developing first grader
grade class. And it was so freaking cute. She put an invitation in Charlie's backpack. It's next Saturday, so we're gonna go. But I thought that was so sweet. So they do a really good job of trying to, inclusivity and trying to involve her with the typically developing class as well. And then they get to do classes called specials where they go, I mean, the whole school does that, but their classes do too. Charlie and Ava's classes do too, where they go to music or there's like a sensory room at the school, stuff like that, which is really adorable.
One of the field trips they took was to, it was like a playground of sorts, or it was inside, right?
Oh yeah.
Where
they went to a sensory, we have this place in Idaho. It's called the Sensory Place, but it's almost like a gym specifically for, kids with high sensory needs. And so it has all these different like swings and, trampolines and like a foam pit and slides and just things like that. All like mats everywhere, little zip line. It was really, really cool. So
Charlie and Ava loved it.
Yeah, they loved it. All the different swings. It definitely motivated us. We're like, we need a swing. We need like a cool sensory swing in the house for sure. And we actually have a place that would be perfect for it up in the gym, the bonus room. Get on it, honey.
I thought you were gonna say like right in the center of the walkway.
Right in the center of the living room. It'll be so cute. We get asked sometimes, do they ride a bus? Like, what's the situation with that?
In California, they did ride a bus.
Yeah. So they don't here because we live like 3
really
minutes
close
from the school. We live really, really close to the school they go to, which is super nice. But in California, Charlie did ride the bus. So the setup in California was different. It wasn't like a fully integrated school situation. And Ava, when we lived in California, this was 2 years ago now. So Ava was young enough that she wasn't going to any classes. She had just started in this. They had a little, like almost like before pre-K, like pre-K school situation, if you can even call it school, but it was kind of like it was a program that they had that she had just gotten qualified for. And Charlie did this program, and that was really great. They would do, they did all sorts of things there. Music time, and they had a cool playground there. So that's kind of what Ava was going to do. And then we ended up moving before she could start. But Charlie went to a school that was specifically for different needs kiddos. She rode the bus, so they would come and get her. take her in her wheelchair to the school. And we loved her teacher at that school too. We feel so fortunate because, knock on wood, we have never yet, and hopefully never will, have to deal with a scenario where we're just not like crazy about who they're spending that time with at the school. Because obviously for any parent, this is like, a major concern. Like, you send out your kids off to school and you're just like putting them in the trust of the people who are there, right? And it's scary. Like, it's scary as a parent. But particularly for, imagine that with a child who is nonverbal, non-ambulatory. If anything happens, like, our girls can't tell us. If they needed to, they wouldn't be able to like remove themselves from a situation, or, so there's definitely like an added layer of just concern. And that was like a big conversation that we had with teachers and with the principal, just like what their safety protocols are before we started at the school. We were really interested in understanding, like, how do you handle XYZ scenario with these kids who can't do much for themselves. So we definitely fully vetted that. But in California, it was a school that was specifically for different needs kiddos. And I don't know. I mean, and that school, like I said, that school was great too because the teacher was amazing. But do you have any feelings about which you like better?
I liked them both. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that one, it was like I think they had a wider range of ages as well, and like different
And needs,
different
abilities
as well. But I like getting pictures of like Jack seeing Charlie on the playground
I do too.
and taking a picture with her with her teacher, and then she sends it to you.
Yeah, because
think
they'll
that's
end up
cute.
out, Jack and Charlie will end up at recess at the same time, and he'll go, her teacher will end up sending us pictures of them at recess together, like, and it's just it's cool. It's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, and to be frank, logistically, it makes it a little easier too, because they're at the same school. There's the same stuff going on. We're only, it's one location that we're dropping off and picking up from. So that aspect has been really nice too. I do think like there can be advantages to being at a school that is very specifically for kids with different needs. I think sometimes it can allow for slightly higher accommodation of like what they would need. For example, they have PT and OT at their school now here in Boise. But in California, the place that she went to school was the same place that she did her outpatient like PT and OT.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was the exact same physical therapist, exact same OTs, and they were getting to see her now like 2 or 3 times a week each, because they would go into her classroom because it was all in the same place, and it was specifically for kids with different needs. So that was cool. Like, that was an upside, I would say, for sure.
I also feel like from an equipment standpoint, they had even more equipment.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one of the things they had in California was the treadmill, where they would like kind of put her in that harness.
That was really
And they had this treadmill that they were trying to get her to
coordinate her
like
steps.
to create that connection neurologically
Yeah.
with her feet moving forward, because she doesn't really have a desire to walk right now. I don't think she really kind of understands that yet.
She has the desire.
She does have
She's
desire.
We're trying to ramp her up to qualify to use
a gait trainer.
Gait trainer, which is like, and basically like a walker, like something that would assist. She wants it, honey.
But she was when we were in California, she was on that kind of path.
Yeah, and we're working on getting her back on that path. But it will be through, to your point, it'll be through her outpatient PTs, and then probably won't get, like she won't be working on that specifically so much in her school time PT, which is fine. But that was one bonus of like having those two in the same place. But yeah, and I guess like as far as what it's going to look like moving forward, we need to figure out like how long she's in that program at that school. But I think it is.
It can't be until 12th grade though.
I don't know. I guess
because it's not like you've seen other kids that are at like, that age. So I would imagine it's 6th grade, and then
grade.
there's
maybe actually I'm remembering what we talked about is that these kids would be together through 12th grade, not
That's what it is.
necessarily, yeah, not
Yeah.
necessarily like in that specific class. That's true. So yeah, we haven't had to cross that bridge as far as like, okay, so what does it look like for junior high and for high school and what's that all going to be like? But I will say this because maybe this could add some value. I will say that we, again, going back to just like the concerns of like letting your children out, like into the care of strangers essentially, right, at school and stuff. There was a lot of concern, especially initially in California before they had really gotten into the school system. I was so nervous about it. And there was a part of me that was like, do we even do this? Like, you know, we were receiving services
PT
from
and OT at home.
Yep. And then also going to PT and OT outside of the home. And so in some ways we felt like, I mean, that's like a decent amount of stuff. And then she's here with us and I know what's going on. And there was that like,
If anything went wrong, she can't really tell you, or
yeah. And we had that thought of like, is it worth the risk of like putting her in school and having her having them away from us all day? But I do feel like it has been great for both of them.
I feel like they've grown socially, like both Charlie and Ava, from being in their classes. And
socially, how? What do you mean? Why didn't you
Charlie?
expound on that?
No, I just feel like she's already a social person, but I feel like when I noticed that when she was going to school, and around more kids, that she was just even more social and
she seemed to really enjoy
it. More alert and attentive to things that are going on around her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, purely just from the perspective of like it genuinely seems to bring them joy, and that's like enough reason just right there. You know, like it's a change of scenery for them. They're getting a lot of different exposure to different things, you know, and
they have bubble machines, which Charlie loves.
Obsessed with her bubble machine. All right, Chase, we got to pause though for a second and talk about how the only thing I've been able to think about is what the heck we're going to do with our kids all summer long, because school is wrapping up. It's coming to an end. I love summer with the kids. It's the best. Lots of family time. But also, let's be honest, how are we going to keep them busy?
I mean, we are so excited. We actually sat down last week. We did, and looking at all of the travel plans, but it can be a lot.
Yes.
To think about summer plans.
Which is why, you guys, I am so excited to announce that Family Made is partnering with the I Am Mom Summit this year to provide moms everywhere with a free online event on June 1st that's all about summer family fun.
It is going to be amazing. Shawn Johnson and Andrew East, the founders of the Family Made Network, were keynote speakers last year at the summit, and they're returning again this year. There are so many helpful tips that are shared at this event, and the best part is it's free. And it's online, so you can watch the speakers from anywhere.
Free and online. Can't beat that. The theme of the I Am Mom Summit this year, you guys, is Summer Boot Camp. So it's going to be Summer Boot Camp, systems to keep your sanity. And speakers will touch on topics like family connection, screen-free ideas for the kids, meal prep ideas, travel tips, and so much more. I cannot stress enough how good this is going to be and how excited I am for this, because I need all those tips.
This is going to be awesome. And as I said before, this is free and it's an online event. So head over to the IamMomSummit.com to sign up for this free online event on June 1st.
There's also an option, y'all, if you want to watch it in person and attend in person, you can do that. And obviously this is something you do not want to miss, especially my fellow mamas out there. This is going to be so helpful. Go to IamMomSummit.com and reserve your spot because it fills up quickly, especially for the in-person event. The link will be in our show notes as well, so you can access it that way too. I hope to see you there. But yeah, I think overall, we're really glad that we decided to do that, to put them in school. Because again, like being really transparent, I think that when you have kiddos that are severely medically complex, right? And I might get judged for saying this. This is just honesty. There is also, I think, that you kind of wonder, like, well, I mean, will they know the difference? Like, is this worth like the effort and the time and the risk? All of those things. Is it worth that? Where like for them? Because there's sort of that question of like cognitively and developmentally, will they even know? Like, will they be able to tell? Or I don't know. And again, that's just me being super candid. Like, I don't think it's unusual to have that type of a thought. But in our experience, I guess this is us saying that, like, yes, it's for us, it's been so worth it because we've seen them. I think it's really helped them to thrive.
Yeah.
Being exposed to all these different things and
different people, different voices, different sensory things going on.
And I think it's good for the parents too. Like it makes it feel like it's not all on you to be providing those things for them, Yeah, all the time. It just kind of like distributes that responsibility, I guess, amongst a larger group of people. And that is always super helpful. So yeah, what other, I feel like we've also been asked, like, what other services do the girls receive and like what other things are they in besides just school?
PT and OT.
Yeah. So the girls they both go to school. Like we said, Ava's half day, Monday through Friday. Charlie's a full day, Monday through Friday. I was going to say this, I almost forgot. The one thing I will say though, school tuckers them out. They are like exhausted.
When Charlie gets back, she immediately wants to, and Ava too. They immediately want to take a nap.
Yeah, like they're tired, which I think again is good. It's a good sign that they're like
stretching themselves.
Yeah, that there's a lot. Exactly. They're stretching themselves when they're there. But so they go to school. They both receive outpatient PT and OT from our local hospitals where we do that. And then we just recently started speech therapy. So that will be really cool. And that's outpatient as well. That's through just like a private vendor who provides those services. And I'm excited about that. Charlie's been in speech before, back in California. That was part of her program. I don't think Ava has been.
It's the first time.
But so we just barely got both of them back into speech. And obviously, like right now, they are nonverbal. And so the types of things they work on are, it kind of looks similar right now to like what their PT and OT look like. But the
similar milestones that they're kind of working towards right now.
Well, and just kind of similar, like if you were to be an observer, I don't know, not that similar. But I guess my point is it's not like, they're not talking yet, right? So I could see people thinking like, I don't get it. Like, what are you doing speech for if they're nonverbal? But the goal is to get to where there's enough like, interaction and like cognitive, like they're at a place cognitively where they could qualify to use like a communication device. And I get a lot of messages regarding that in terms of like, from speech therapists or people who work in that industry who say things like, I really think that they could use one of those, which is very exciting.
It's cool.
So that's kind of the goal right now, is just to get them to a point where they could potentially use one of those and have another way to communicate, which would be awesome.
That's right.
What else, Chase?
I think from like a wheelchair and like equipment standpoint, like there's other people that we meet with from an equipment standpoint, because I think Charlie's starting to outgrow her wheelchair, and same with Ava. And so they're getting to a place where we start to look at what is that next? Is there a wheelchair? Is there like a stroller-like vehicle or something?
For anyone who's watching this who follows on Instagram and has like followed for a hot minute, I just want you to know we are working on replacing our double stroller that we're still stuffing the girls into. This is one, like, sorry, this is a bit of a tangent, but you mentioned equipment. That is one challenge. Like it's truly
a super convenient stroller.
Oh
it's
my
awesome.
Gosh, we're
and we love the stroller.
With the stroller.
This isn't sponsored, by the way, but it's an awesome stroller. But we
but they're huge.
Yeah,
like they've
too big.
outgrown
it. Yeah.
And I'm referencing longtime followers because I got a message recently that was like, man, I think you and your girls, just you guys alone, have sold me on this double stroller that y'all have, because I have seen you use it for the past like 5 years. Like, it has really, it's really held up. And it's true. It's an Uppa Baby Vista. This isn't sponsored, but it should be. And we have loved it, but they've outgrown it. And so, that's one of the challenges that you face. Like, for us, logistically, the fact that we have 2 non-ambulatory children, that's why the double stroller, that's why we've like prolonged
because you only have to
its
push
use
one,
for so
right? You
long,
don't have to push 2 wheelchairs if you're there by yourself.
Yeah. I mean, like, the convenience of the double is just like unmatched. And so anyway, all of that to say, we have found another stroller. It's like a wheelchair stroller kind of hybrid situation.
It's super cool looking.
Yeah,
it doesn't have the wheel. It's like their wheelchairs right now that light up when they roll.
We'll still use their wheelchairs, and it will function really as their stroller, but it can become a double. And as far as I know, it is the only stroller on the market for, like, disability friendly, that can become a double stroller, which is so lame. P.S. I'm not going to lie, y'all. Sometimes Chase and I have this dream of like, man, I wish we could create products like that would like solve problems for that group of people, like for our people, because man, there's a lot of like just gaps in the market, big time. So that's not like an announcement. We're not, we don't have any plans to do that. Stroller. But, man, I sure would like to, because there's a need for sure. But anyway, that's the latest and greatest in equipment and stuff.
So another question, in addition to the girls' schooling and equipment, is how do you find these services?
Like, how do we find out about all of these things? Which is always like one of the hardest aspects to navigate.
We're still figuring it out, by the way.
Yeah.
California and Idaho have been very different.
Yeah, because it all really varies by state. But I would say, in my opinion, your greatest frontline resource for figuring out what services, programs, etc., are available to your kiddo and to you is your doctors. I mean, honestly, I think your doctors should, at the very least, if they don't know themselves, they should be able to connect you with like a care coordinator or someone that knows the ins and outs of those systems within your state. In our case, that's where it's been. When we first got our diagnosis with the girls, it was our neurologist who connected us with the folks who kind of like led us to all the services. And I'm not going to lie, I don't say this to like freak anyone out, but just to be transparent, it's not like then it became totally seamless either.
No.
It's because I don't know why. It's just, for some reason, it's never not felt pretty convoluted and like just confusing.
And it's like I feel like it's very piecemeal. It like depends on who you talk to.
Yes.
They'll give you like a piece of like, here are some services available to you, or like this, but it's never like, here is the whole picture
thing and exactly
like,
how to
here's
go do
it
it and
for
go
you.
access it now. Yeah. And I think like there's a lot of factors that contribute to that. I mean, sometimes it's like, the people who are working on that end of things, they don't know necessarily what it's like to be on our end, right? Yeah. So they don't know the things that we're wondering about on our end. We don't know the questions to ask, So it's just sort of, there's like a little bit of, there can be a like disconnect between those two worlds. But little by little, you kind of start to, like you said, piece it together. But in our case, I think it was always our doctors who would be the first point of contact for like leading us to those answers.
That's one. And then the second one that I would say is just like being connected to like social media groups, or if you know other special needs families, like asking them about the resources. If they're further along in that journey with their kids, that's been helpful here in Utah. Like we have some neighbors that have not Utah. Why did I say Utah? That was weird. In Idaho. But like we've had neighbors that they have special needs children, and we've asked them questions about how they found their services, and that has shed some more light on how we can find those ourselves as well. But again, it's
And that
being
is
connected
how,
to those communities, and then also through your doctors and health systems.
and through just asking questions. I think we've talked about this on other episodes, but like, I think if you, well, and you figure this out as a parent in general, but especially as a parent of medically complex kiddos, you have to just be shameless about asking questions, right? So like, I think we found out about the school programs because we went to register Jack and talked to the principal, and the girls were with us. And then it became like, okay, so what's available to our girls? And he just explained the whole thing. So yeah, just never being afraid to ask lots of questions. And that's what led us to understanding the school situation for the kids. So just thought we would shed some light on that. Yeah, that's it.
I think that's it.
But guys, we always welcome questions of like, we're obviously open books, and we're happy to answer anything else that you're wondering about. So keep them coming. This is a short and sweet episode, but we thought we would knock out the answer to that one. Let us know if you have any other questions. Chase, where can they find us?
You can find us at Shannon Willardson on Instagram.
Chase hates when I make
TikTok.
him say
No.
this part of the
Shannon
He
Willardson
told me
on
that
TikTok,
last week.
Instagram.
He's like, I hate it when you put me
Family
on the
Made
spot
Media on YouTube, or the Willardson Family on YouTube.
He's like,
And
you're,
I think that's it.
Did I embarrass you?
No.
Because I told your secret that you were annoyed with me last week because I made.
No, it was because last
And then
week.
I did it again
Because last
this
week I struggled with it because Jack was distracting me and like doing something that he shouldn't, like throwing the ball against the door. He's practicing pitching for baseball in the house, and I was trying to talk to him and also say this at the same time, and I think I failed at both. So
It's okay, honey. That's why I wanted. I was giving you the opportunity to redeem yourself.
well, thank you so much.
And you crushed it. Oh my gosh, we're so annoying. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for being
Thanks
here.
everyone. Have a great day.
We'll see
you
y'all soon.
We'll see you online. That was weird. See you guys next week.